Tariffs and garments. President Donald Trump said that America does not have to sign deals. They have to sign deals with us. They want a piece of our market. We don't want a piece of their market, he said during his meeting with Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, contradicting top White House officials' claims for weeks that such deals are the administration's top priority. Markets fell after his comments, CNBC reported. The growing protectionism of the United States, ironically, may help other countries forge closer economic ties with each other. The UK and India agreed on a bilateral trade agreement that was announced on Tuesday night, which will remove tariffs on most items within a decade. Meanwhile, ASEAN and China are set to meet on May 19th to negotiate improvements to a free trade agreement, according to Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim on Monday, quoted by CNBC. So these are the new bridges that are being built thanks to the Trump tariff scare. And many of those connections could bypass the US, which, according to Trump, does not need deals anyway, according to that CNBC report. Meanwhile, so let's pick one industry. Apparel exports from India could see a bump up, but how could this play out, and could it in any way mitigate a potential loss into the US? That's exports into the US, assuming or in case tariffs do not come down sufficiently. I reached out to Prabhu Dhamodharan, convener of the Indian Taxpayers Federation, which represents close to 500 companies in the value chain of textile manufacturing, from standalone spinning companies to weaving and apparel and home textile companies. And he's based out of Coimbatore. And I began by asking him how he was seeing the UK-India FTA announcement and how it could help the industry.
Actually, US is a very different market. For example, large companies used to work with different markets because they may have a different set of manufacturing setup across the places. And SME companies, normally some companies used to work with the European Union and UK as an independent company, and some other companies will work with US. Because order quantity, the designs, the expectation, both are very different for these two markets. I can simply say that UK is a very different and new opportunity for India.
Now, if you were to go to the UK specifically, India's share of UK apparel imports is about 5 to 5.5%, from what I understand. China is about 21, Bangladesh is about 18. So both these countries are much bigger than India at this point. And India's exports are worth around 1 billion US. So what is the opportunity in your mind, and which specific areas?
Sir, before moving to the subject, first, with my understanding from our association, we witnessed a lot of momentum from the government for the past few months to conclude this FTA. First, we need to appreciate the efforts of Indian government and Ministry of Commerce, and a lot of inputs they discussed with industry, and they successfully concluded this FTA. Why this FTA is a game changer? We feel that this is the base FTA for a bigger FTA with European Union. This already set very good base for further expansion of the theme of FTA. The UK is a very important market for us. We need to understand one clear factor. Global trade is not growing at all. Even all developed markets, whether you take textile or anything, only the growth rate is in the range of 1 to 2%. It's not like India, every sector is growing in double digit, or even double digit. We may not be happy with some earnings call with listed companies. But those markets used to grow by 1%, 2%. So now the challenge is, who is going to grab others' market? Only it's a competitive game. So in UK, already because of the duty advantage, whatever the UK imports like 18 to $20 billion, Bangladesh have a dominant share. Because if we export a t-shirt from Tirupur or Coimbatore, we need to pay 12% duty. For Bangladesh, it is zero. An average t-shirt or any basic product costs around 170 rupees. And in that 170 rupees, 12% is a big number. Because apparel manufacturing, the entire value chain works on only 10 to 13% EBITDA margin. And this 12% is not a simple number. Now this is going out. Naturally, we may have a very, very good level playing field with Bangladesh. And only because of that advantage, Bangladesh is able to gain the market share, because products are same, and whatever we make, they are also making. So naturally, now we have a very, very bright advantage. In my opinion, doubling our market share, like from the 1 to $1.2 billion of current run rate with UK, we can easily add another $1 billion with our own efforts. And that is a big number because India's apparel exports are stagnant for the past many years. And this $1 billion or $1.2 billion will add 10% incremental growth to overall export.
Right. And if you were to look at our ability to expand, and this is the question I think I've posed to you earlier as well, how well geared are we and what are the specific areas? For example, would it be home textiles or knits? And essentially, whether in these specific areas or other areas, how well are Indian manufacturers geared to grow or expand capacity?
Okay, good question. Actually, even calendar year 2024, knitted apparels we exported in the range of $655 million and woven apparels we exported in the range of $740 million and home textile in the range of $270 million. These numbers are almost similar for the past many years. Now, the capacity wise, any incremental order, any company can absorb 10 to 20% very easily by debottlenecking and also going for small expansion in the brownfield expansions. Many can do. And few companies, by expecting China plus one opportunity, already started expanding in our region. We are witnessing good momentum in expansion, particularly in apparel sector. So, a small incremental orders definitely the sector can absorb. This is the time industry also need to be much bold and invest on modern, and end of the day competitiveness matters in trade. And with this duty advantage we have a level playing field. Beyond that we need to build competitiveness. So it's time for Indian industry to invest boldly. Number one, even one engineering player told an interesting example, even there from our region. China will be always capacity ready. They will build capacities, and if any buyer comes, immediately they will show and grab the orders. And we also need to think on those lines. And instead of waiting for each and every buyer confirmation, now India, UK FTA on, and China plus one opportunities. Really, US buyers are now searching for good facilities, and they are sending feelers across the world, at least to 5, 6 countries. Naturally, even we don't know, as you said, how the Trump tariff ends, but everyone feels that relative terms India is safer, and we may end up with the lowest bracket of tariff. Third, we have a raw material security. India have abundant raw materials, so we need not depend. Even something happens tomorrow with some other country, we don't have, for example, Bangladesh or any other country, even for Vietnam, you take cotton yarn. Cotton yarn, we have a robust spinning capability in the country. We are the supplier for those countries. Even in fabric, we have a robust capacity. So all these advantages, all stars are aligning now. It's time for industry also, whether as an SME or a large corporate, announce capex, build world-class facilities so that we will be capacity ready to grab orders and use the opportunity and at least improve our export in double digit for the next 10 years time. We believe that apparel is a next 10-year story in exports.
Right. Last question. So you said that the opportunity or the one opportunity could be the EU. This would take, as I understand, about 6 months or so to materialize the India UK FTA. What is the size of the potential opportunity in EU if tariffs were lower, and where are we on that score?
You're asking about European Union.
Yes.
European Union is a much larger market than USA. For example, US imports 78 to 80 billion dollar. European Union imports 90 billion dollar of apparels. So there also we have a 5% band. Everywhere we have 5% market share. If Europe FTA concludes, naturally we will double our exports there also. And there are two things. One is industry needs to be fit to face these new orders. Number one, build capacities, build competitiveness, bring lot of automation, because labor is a big challenge in India, particularly southern part of India, and we need to judiciously use automation and improve our efficiency. At the same time, another area of concern for Indian industry is the policies. For example, time to time industry is worried about the raw material duties, import duty on cotton. For example, China is now, because they are facing turbulence everywhere, they are trying to dump goods in the Indian market. For example, viscose yarn. Now there is a gap. Viscose fiber is protected, fabric is protected. So there is a gap. Immediately they are jumping and imposing dumping here. And the government also very alert now. For example, knitted fabrics, huge imports came and government stepped in and imposed duty. Now it reduced. Like that, we need to be watchful. And policymakers also need to ensure a very simple formula. raw material stage, we should get competitive raw material without any import duties at international prices so that industry also can boldly invest in future capacities. And another very important point, Mitra Parks. Mitra Parks, now many state governments, already Madhya Pradesh announced the launch of the park. That is also one area industry need to explore. 7 parks are coming up. So as I said in the initial remarks, all stars are aligning. Industry, trade associations and government all need a 5-year game plan in numbers where we need to apply our focus on cotton and how we can improve competitiveness on MMF, because end of the day, this is a job creating sector. Every $1 billion additional exports can create 1.7 to 2 lakh jobs. That is a big number.
Right. Prabhu, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.